All right. If you're watching this on replay, go ahead, skip to the 2 minute mark. I'm gonna get started at 2 minutes. At the 2 minute mark. But today, still trying to figure out what topic I want to talk about. That's the hardest thing about this is figuring out the topics each day. Because I don't have the time to prepare because I got so much going on. So I got to squeeze this in every day as well. But I'm gonna keep doing it. I want to do it just to challenge myself to see if I can make it 365 consecutive days. It's tough, but it is what it is. You know, it's going to give me even more discipline, learning how to juggle everything and doing this. Plus, I want to get to the point where I can make more digital money, so that way I could move anywhere in the world and still have money, income sources, and just being able to say, you know what, I need a little extra money. Let me drop a video. So I got to build the channel up, but it is tough, like I said. But at the 2 minute mark, that's when I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna play this video. See which one I want to. I think I got it. Got like 30 seconds. So if you're watching through this portion, then that's cool. Thanks for watching. But who is watching? Because I see somebody in here now. People will watch and won't say anything. You don't say hello or none of that. I appreciate you watching though. I ain't gonna lie. But damn, say what's up so I can know who it is. See who's supporting. I got 3 seconds. All right. So the topic that I had in mind was be careful following the trend. I'm gonna play this video by this lady, and then I'm gonna talk about it. It's gonna kind of be more of a business topic, but hold on one second.
So I just finished watching this video from a creator named Sheila, and she's actually a lawyer on this platform. I wanted to stitch it because what she said just absolutely stopped me in my tracks, but she has stitches off, so I wanted to give you guys my take. In one of these videos, she talked about a CEO who allegedly said Americans need to be kept hungry so they keep showing up to work. There was also mention of Elon Musk's mother saying that the poors need to keep having children so that her son has people to work in his factories. Now, I could not personally find sources for these quotes, but even if they are paraphrased or symbolic, they are painting a picture on a system that thrives on inequality, a system that works hard to keep people struggling and overworked and stuck in survival mode, because that is how control is maintained. She also talked about this in relation to the TikTok ban from a lawyer's perspective, which I thought was really interesting. But essentially, the point that she's trying to get across is poverty doesn't just happen. It's manufactured. Like how people aren't allowed to collect rainwater, or grocery stores incinerate food because it's about to go bad instead of donating it. And it takes effort to keep people believing that the status quo is normal. It's no coincidence that universities in the US historically were free. But now people are being told to take on mortgage-sized student loan debt for any degree, regardless of job prospects. We're out here telling regular people to follow their passions and the money will come, but that's not what the rich do. But it's designed like this for normal folks because that's the system. The more debt you're in, the more tied you are to your job, the easier you are to exploit. You get stuck, you lose free choice because you've already sold tomorrow's hours. And then add on to that the societal pressure to spend extravagantly on your wedding, even though I cannot tell you how many people I talk to who are still paying off their wedding after the divorce. Spend to the max of your pre-approval for a house. The bank's gotcha. Buy on credit cards. Keep up with the Joneses. You could just pay it back later. Access to debt becomes an illusion of freedom. And a lot of people follow down this path because they are told that they should. And growing up, I saw this firsthand, right? My family rode the poverty line. I saw them struggle. And I started to believe for a long time that struggle was just a part of life. But it's not a part of life for everyone. Now, after being around wealthy people and becoming wealthy myself, the difference is staggering. Rich people don't play by the same rules that regular people have been told to follow. They do the opposite of what the masses are doing. Asset prices go through the roof. And
I'm gonna pause right there. I'm gonna come back and talk about it a little more. Well, let her talk a little more. But one thing she was talking about, the reason why it's called "Be Careful Following the Trend" is because some of the trend, I got into business. Well, I've tried different business ventures, but I really went out on a limb and got into some business in 2021. Um, but as you've seen on Instagram, TikTok, all these different things, they talk about leveraging uh, debt and everything like that to make your wealth. And yes, you can do it. There is a way, but you got to be super structured. And most of the time is very hard because you end up what happens is you end up paying attention to too much. You got this credit card here that's giving you these rewards. You got this debt that's supposed to be paying for this thing over here, and then this paying for that. And it's just so much going on. If you have too much going on, plus you got your taxes and everything, you got to make sure you're writing everything off. It could become very overwhelming when you're doing it by yourself. And you don't have like you end up stripping your day on just doing a whole bunch of different admin stuff, which, when you're in business for yourself, you're definitely going to be working crazy hours. It's 24 hours pretty much, right? Because it's just you. But I would say just be careful following some of these things. Getting into debt is the trick that everyone is basically, is what America is pulling off. Like, is the biggest trick is get you into debt, and then you spend a whole bunch of time trying to pay back that debt. Even like the lady said in the video, you have mortgage-sized loans going to school. You know what I mean? When a lot of times people could pick up trades and could be making money and could start businesses. Or if you follow something that you really want to do, that doesn't necessarily require you to go to school for 4 years, it's better to do that, and build your wealth. My son, he's 17, but from this time he's already generating money now. From this time to 22, the age of college, most of the time 18 to 22, he can be stacking his bread. He can be putting it in the stock market and not even high risk things, and just let it build. He could just invest in the SPY or the QQQ, you know what I mean, and just let it build up. And by the time he let's say gets out of the college age, he will have money instead of being in debt and then trying to pay that off, right? And student debt is a killer. It is like the one thing you can't get off until it's paid off. So it doesn't just go away in the 7 years. So be careful when they say, yo, get this credit card. You could get all this type of funding, but it's a whole bunch of credit cards. And then you got 0% over here. Then you got to transfer this to that to pay this off. That's a lot to pay attention to. And most people will end up forgetting something, because the more and more things you have to pay attention to, the harder it gets. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not, the average person is not able to do that. So the best thing to do is limit the debt you get into. Not saying you still need credit, but limit the credit that you're utilizing as much as possible. Only have it there for the purposes of building credit for when you need something major. But if you can, try not to use credit cards and stuff like that. The reward points, here's the thing. You got the reward points. They say, okay, we'll give you 1% to 3% rewards on certain purchases. So you're like, all right, cool. I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna just pay it off right away. But most people don't pay it off right away. You end up at some point, you make a big purchase because you're like, oh, I don't want to spend all my cash on this big purchase, so I'm gonna put it on a credit card. And you're still thinking I'm gonna pay it off, but the problem is something else happens where you have to use it again real quick. So now I don't know what the big purchase is relative to different people, but let's just say it's like $1,000. You spend $600 at one point, then you spend another $400. Now you're $1,000 in, and you had the money in your checkings account, but you didn't want to use it right away, and then you forget. And then what happens is now you get hit with interest from that $1,000, unless you have 0%, but then 0% only lasts for a while, right? So now you're paying it down. You're not paying it off right away, and you're paying more and more in interest. Then something else happens. Now something else happens, you spend more and more. And then now you get another credit card and say, okay, I'm gonna do a balance transfer. So now you got 2 credit cards, and then it just starts stacking up. When it's just better to just not have the interest at all. Create an emergency fund for emergencies, strictly for emergencies. That's the biggest thing, is create an emergency fund that's strictly for emergencies and nothing else, right? Not a trip where it's like, hey, not a thing where it's like, I want to take this trip, so I'm gonna save up. You can have that account too. Have a separate savings account for your vacations, but emergency needs to be strictly for emergency. But most people use credit cards to do it. Now, what I would say is, you can have the credit card, but have the emergency fund first, right? And let's say 3 of your tires blew out, right? Out of nowhere, and you had to replace your tires. So you spend about $1,000. Now you can do big purchases, one big purchase on that credit card, boom, then take your emergency money and pay it off right away. Then that way you can get rewards. But the whole, I'm gonna swipe all the time to get my rewards, it's a dangerous thing. Or if you're gonna do that, make sure your credit card is limited. Don't have a $10,000 credit card. Keep it minor, and only keep one. So that way you can never really get too far into debt. If you have a credit card for $1,000 or $2,000, you never really go that far into debt. But having multiple, I'm gonna use one card for this, one card for that, it becomes overwhelming. And then using debt to create income. Yes, I know a lot of people do it, but most people can't handle that. So I would suggest not doing it. Just if you can, try not to use debt to create more income. Stay away from the credit cards. Just because they offer you rewards, it doesn't matter. And then a lot of people say, oh, I'd rather use somebody else's money. If anything happens, like your car gets stolen, okay, that's cool. I understand that. But most big banks, I know I never really had too much of an issue. Whenever I get identity fraud, not identity theft, maybe it's considered identity theft, I don't know. But whenever I get some type of fraudulent stuff happening on my even if it's my debit card, I call the bank. I'm with Bank of America. I'm with a few banks, but when I call the bank, it's never an issue. They put the money back in there, especially Bank of America. They do it pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie. Some people might have horror stories. I've never, how long it's been, 15 years, 20 years, some shit like that I've been with Bank of America. Every time I call for something fraudulent, they be on it. They put my money back in there ASAP. It's never been an issue. So, that whole thing of, use the credit card because if anything happened, it's your credit card, is not your money. The banks typically will put the money back in there as well, just as fast. So I just feel like, it's just a whole thing of keeping people in debt. Because if you keep them in debt, the thing is, the banks will never go broke, right? So let me center this a little bit, my fault, because I don't want to be looking. There we go. I'll put it right there. So be careful with that. So another thing the lady was talking about in the video, it's crazy how in America they charge you for water. Like you can't even have, rainwater. Like, wow, if I can build a system that can collect rainwater, right, and filter it where I can drink it, why can I not have that? Why are you charging me for something that's free? Next thing you know, they're going to charge for air. If America could charge for air, they will find a way to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, they will find a way to do so. It's just they cannot do that. That's the one thing they cannot do. So, they could charge for straight oxygen, but, just straight oxygen tanks. But if they could charge for the air you breathe, they will find a way to do it, but they just can't figure it out yet. But to charge people for water when you can catch it, collect it, build a filtration system is wild to me. That is wild. So, it's just a lot of things that's keeping us broke, keeping us in debt. So stay away from some of those things. Don't Don't let these people out here say, yo, get this credit card. You can get 300,000 in funding, you know what I mean? And use these credit cards, and then you can eventually get another credit card. It doesn't work that way. One, it's hard to get all of that funding. A lot of times to get some of that funding, one, you got to have good credit. That's first and foremost. Two, a lot of times to get that funding, you may have to some people are falsifying information to get that. So, you might not want to do that. And then, like I said, you're going to end up having all this credit card debt. Unless you can turn that money into that 300,000, if you could flip it into $1 million, which most of the time you can't, because things that you invest, typically entrepreneurs and businessmen and venture capitalists, when they invest their money, they're looking to get, if they get about 20-30%, that's great for them. That's great. Your returns is not going to usually be that high. So taking on that much debt, then you have that interest, it ain't worth it. It's not worth it. So I just want to put that out there, because I had to go through different things, and just stay away from it. Stay clear from it. I'm gonna go back to the video again because it was something else she was talking about. Damn, I wish I could just. One thing I don't like about Instagram is that you cannot. It's not like YouTube where you can just move it back and forth. At least not on the laptop. I know you could do it when it's on the phone, but I just play the video for the people new in here watching.
So I just finished watching this video from a creator named Sheila, and she's actually a lawyer on this platform. I wanted to stitch it because what she said just absolutely stopped me in my tracks, but she has stitches off, so I wanted to give you guys my take. In one of these videos, she talked about a CEO who allegedly said Americans need to be kept hungry so they keep showing up to work. There was also mention of Elon Musk's mother saying that the poors need to keep having children so that her son has people to work in his factories.
Yo, that's crazy right there. That's crazy. But that's been going on since, Rockefeller. Like, that was his whole thing. He wanted people he wanted women to go to work because it created more buyers. You have more people purchasing his stuff. So that was part of it. You know what I mean? The whole school system is built off of creating workers. So in order to be free, you have to stay out of debt. I'm not one of them Dave Ramsey type dudes, but because I used to be like, yo, you know what? If I could use debt to get income, yeah, but you got to be super careful, and sometimes it's just not worth it. The best thing you can do is be disciplined. Discipline trumps all. You know what I mean? The using debt is like a get rich quick scheme. You know what I mean? But if you can be super disciplined, then you wouldn't have any issues. Let me keep playing this though.
Now, I could not personally find sources for these quotes, but even if they are paraphrased or symbolic, they are painting a picture on a system that thrives on inequality, a system that works hard to keep people struggling and overworked and stuck in survival mode, because that is how control is maintained. She also talked about this in relation to the TikTok ban from a lawyer's perspective, which I thought was really interesting. But essentially, the point that she's trying to get across is poverty doesn't just happen. It's manufactured. Like how people aren't allowed to collect rainwater, or grocery stores incinerate food because it's about to go bad instead of donate.
That's another thing. A lot of food is thrown away. And this is food that could be given to the poor, but yet they just throw it away. Now, I know some of them might feel like, oh, it could be a liability, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, if that's the reason why they're doing it. Because they could just throw it in, just put it in the trash. But some are like, it's clothes and things like that, all types of stuff. It's this video, not video, but the show on Netflix. I forgot what it's called, but it talks about all of that, where clothes and foods and all that, how it gets destroyed instead of just giving it to the homeless. But God, I'm gonna keep playing.
And it takes effort to keep people believing that the status quo is normal. It's no coincidence that universities in the US historically were free, but now people are being told to take on mortgage-sized student loan debt for any degree, regardless of job prospects. We're out here telling regular people to follow their passions and the money will come, but that's not what the rich do. But it's designed like this for normal folks because that's the system. The more debt you're in, the more tied you are to your job, the easier you are to exploit. You get stuck, you lose free choice because you've already sold tomorrow's ours. And then add on to that the societal pressure to spend extravagantly on your wedding, even though I cannot tell you how many people I talk to who are still paying off their wedding after the.
Also, weddings. Studies show the more you spend on a wedding, the less chance you have of staying married.
Divorce. Spend to the max of your pre-approval for a house. The bank's gotcha. Buy on credit cards. Keep up with the Joneses. You could just pay it back later. Access to debt becomes an illusion of freedom. And a lot of people
in the comments, how many people have gotten into the credit card debt cycle and just never got out? Like you've never been able to just get it back down to zero. Put that in the comments if you've been there. Put a one in the chat. Let me finish playing this.
People follow down this path because they are told that they should. And growing up, I saw this firsthand, right? My family rode the poverty line. I saw them struggle. And I started to believe for a long time that struggle was just a part of life. But it's not a part of life for everyone. Now, after being around wealthy people and becoming wealthy myself, the difference is staggering. Rich people don't play by the same rules that regular people have been told to follow. They do the opposite of what the masses are doing. Asset prices go through the roof and regular people catch FOMO. But when they inevitably crash, because that is the market cycle, rich people swoop in and scoop up those assets for pennies on the dollar. While everyone else is scared because that's what the media is telling them to be, the rich people are the ones coming in and making the money. And let's get real, the marketing that we are exposed to on a daily basis is nothing but propaganda. It's designed to create a problem you didn't even know you had and then sell you the solution. It keeps you buying, it keeps you consuming, and it keeps you on this treadmill of feeling like you're never enough unless you have more. That's why regular people stay stuck and the rich keep getting richer. Because here's the thing, the system actually isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to, keeping the majority trapped while a few stay on top in control. The middle class is disappearing, and this is intentional. A strong middle class threatens their power. People who see through the bullshit, like we are all starting to do on this app, threatens their power because people stop believing the.
Yeah, so it's crazy. It is a lot of BS being fed to us, and making us feel like we do have to keep up with the Joneses, and I mean, even fashion now is getting crazy to the point where you can't even be caught wearing the same thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if you wear the same, I guarantee you, if I wore, and I might have already, but if I wore some of the same clothes in my 365 days, somebody will point it out. Like, yo, you had that shirt on a month ago. Like, son, this 365 days. You thought I had a shirt for 365 days? I'm going to end up repeating. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to repeat in the same month. So, but it's just crazy, and it's just getting worse and worse. And then a lot of the trash and stuff, people not even thinking about that. All of the stuff we consume, where's that stuff going? It's a lot of trash is just being created. You really I gotta find that Netflix film. But it is real interesting. If you can, go watch that. It's what is it called? Damn, I can't think of it. But I'm sure if you like Google Netflix film about creating trash and stuff like that, you'll find it. But it's a real interesting film. If you can, go back and watch that. But my whole point is, stay out of debt as much as possible. Don't worry about trying to keep up, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to impress somebody, if they're not impressed with who you are and your character, then fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? The people who feel like, yo, I care about you, or I mess with you because of your character. You know what I mean? I respect you because of your character, not what you have. Those are the people you want to deal with, right? The people that feel like, yo, I want to see everything you got. Those people end up broke too. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, just stay out of debt. Don't use debt to try to become wealthy. Don't let these financial gurus on Instagram and stuff like that, and fake businessmen. Some of them, I mean, they be legit as far as they have some money. Some of them don't. Some of them just be perpetrating, making it seem like they got it, right? But at the end of the day, do what you feel comfortable with. If getting credit cards, and working that whole credit card system, it seems like too much for you, don't do it. It's okay. You're not gonna miss anything. You know what I mean? You're not gonna miss anything. Um, have one, just to have it. It's always good to have one, but it's never good to rely on it. Yo, what's good, DJ IMB? It's never good to rely on it and to continue to, you know, try to play that credit card game and say, yo, let me see if I can get $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 worth of credit cards at one time, and then use that money, but you really don't have no real game plan when you're doing it. But they tell you, yo, you can get all this funding. And what happens is you get all this funding and most people just go into debt and they don't really know how to make money. You have to learn how to make money with the money that you have first before you can start taking on more and more. That's how I go. If I give you all these credit cards and say, all right, now you can make money, most people don't even know how to liquidate the credit cards because it's not that easy. You can't just go to the ATM and pull money out of there because they're gonna hit you with daily interest. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be way too much. So then what are you gonna do? You're gonna take that money and now you're gonna be paying back interest. Is gonna be out your ass. It's gonna be way too much, and you ain't gonna know what to do. It's gonna get overwhelming. So, learn how to, learn how to make money with what you have. And then as you scale up, if there comes a point where you might need a big chunk of money, but you have a plan and your plan has been going up, but you just need a little bit more, then all right, cool. But don't go into the back and forth of, I'm gonna get this credit card with 0% interest, and then it's gonna pay off this. And then after that, I'm gonna get this one, and it's gonna pay off that. And then back and forth, and it just becomes overwhelming. Try not to leverage debt too much to become wealthy. So, yeah, what y'all think about that? I'm gonna keep playing this video. Let me play the rest of this video because I never finished it. Is it
bullshit that they're being fed, and they use this to communicate with other people and share what's really going on. The thing here that I want you to take out of this is you don't have to play their game. You can learn to build wealth. You can learn to escape. When I started doing the opposite of everything that I had been told to do, that is when I got rich. That is when I found my freedom. I went from $40,000 in debt to millionaire at 30, not because I followed the rules, but because I questioned them. I did this by learning how to get my money working for me, like the rich do, instead of just working myself into the ground for someone else. If you are tired of being told to settle for less, this is your wake-up call. So I just finished watching this video from...
All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna read some of these, see what some of these comments say. I love you and how straightforward your information is. The best book I've ever read on this is called The Killing of Uncle Sam, Eyes Wide Open. I'm a new listener and I love what I'm hearing. Educate me, please. I'm 56 and I want to learn. Okay, nobody said anything else. We all have free will. We have choices. We don't have to do what others are saying we should do. That's where all the problems you mentioned start. People need to make better choices. Yes, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Is a lot of times it's keeping up. It's trying to get more, but really, I mean, nothing looks better than a person who is stress-free and healthy looking. They work out, you look stress-free. That's going to, you're just going to put off just great energy. Your aura is just going to look different. So it doesn't matter what you pull up in. If you look stressed out, people going to look at you like you stressed out. You know what I mean? But if you feeling good, you don't have any debt, you're working out, you're going to be glowing out here. So you're going to look like $1 million anyways, So yeah, this trying to keep up with everybody, trying to follow all the trends and stuff like that is pointless. Capitalism, racism, classism, I'm sure it's all linked. For sure, it is. Capitalism creates poverty. This is called systemic slavery. This has been conversed many decades and generations, but every human turns their left cheek and act like it's non-existent. There's an amazing book called Sacred Economics that covers this with much depth and nuance. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna end it right here. 30 minutes and 3 seconds, 2, 1. Appreciate y'all watching. I'll be here tomorrow. Same time, give or take. Peace.